Hello, hello. Welcome. We are back again.
Of course we are. It's Monday.
I mean, yeah, but if we just suddenly went off the air, nobody would know. We could both die.
Don't say that. It's not that bad of a Monday. Goodness.
I'm just joshing around.
I knew you were going to say Josh. We're moving on. This is the second string. I'm Alex Fernando, my co-host Nate Mielbach. I'm sorry about him in advance.
Oh, don't be sorry. You know you love it. Everybody loves me.
Well, welcome again to another edition of the second string, UNO's premier sports radio talk show right here on KRNU2.
Indeed. We have a lot of good stuff to talk to you about today. We have Husker basketball. More Husker basketball. We're going to talk a lot about Husker basketball, but we're also going to talk about college basketball, professional basketball, and then the Olympics, maybe some Husker baseball if we get time.
They've been doing well.
Yeah, they've been doing pretty good.
But let's kick it off. We got 4 games within the past week for total of Nebraska ball.
The last 4 regular season games for both teams.
Yep, 2 girls games and 2 guys. Why don't we kick it off with the ladies? Nate, you were at this first one. This is our senior night for our ladies. Penn State, Nebraska taking it 59-51. Your initial thoughts on the game?
It was good. We played well. Penn State, they're not a good team. They're 15-13. So this was a game that we had to have. And I know it says we only won by 8, but we were up by double digits basically the entire game. There was never a point in this one where I said, "Oh man, we might lose," but I appreciated it. We had a lot of people play really, really good. The big one being Kate Kane, who had 20 rebounds.
Oh, my goodness. Double-double, 14 points, but the 20 rebounds.
I mean, she was...
8 of them being offensive rebounds, too.
Yes, she dominated the glass, and... she just dominated. I mean, Penn State, everybody on Penn State's roster was smaller than her. She was the tallest player out in the court.
That helps. That tends to help. Yeah,
so it happened like that. She got 12 defensive rebounds, 8 ORBs. It was nice. Maddie Simon, I think, scored a little bit.
She had 16, yeah. Kate and Maddie both led the team with 16 and 14 points. Yeah, the one that really surprised me was Nasia.
She's an off and on shooter. She really is. And
yeah, it was a rough night for her against Penn State. 0-for-7.
She played good defensively, which, she has inflatable two-man arms. She's kind of like James Palmer. They both have inflatable two-man arms. They're everywhere.
They are very, very long individuals. You are not wrong.
But she played good defensively. She just didn't quite get her shot in. It was unfortunate. We lost Darian Washington. She re-injured her shoulder this game against Penn State. Which, while she only played 2 or 3 minutes a game, I mean, it always stinks to have somebody go down with an injury. And this is the game that you should be playing her 12, 13 minutes.
Definitely, yeah. Getting your starters some rest. And we need those post players like Washington and Rachel to be able to spell Kate Kane when she's off a little bit or when she's struggling in foul trouble. We'll talk a little bit about that against Maryland. But that's definitely going to be a tough loss for Nebraska as they move into the Big Ten tournament and hopefully into the NCAA tournament for the ladies.
Exactly. Hopefully they can get it. It was a good win. Nothing spectacular. It was one they had to have.
A good senior night, though.
Yeah, it was a good senior night. I get
Sincor and
Sincor, Emily Wood, and Janae Morton.
And Emily Wood, yep.
It's cheesy, but they get me. They get me. I'm kind of sad whenever you hear the senior nights.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we don't know all of these athletes personally.
No.
But every once in a while, we'll bump into some of them. And you covered their entire season this year.
Yeah, I did the same with the basketball. It's like you know how they play. You just enjoy the team, and when it's over, you're like, wow, I'm sad. We're just not going to see the same team again, and that's just kind of college sports. So It was nice to see their videos. It was nice to see them getting honored. We'll talk a little bit about the men's against Penn State a little later, but same thing for them. But it was a nice senior win, a nice way to close out the home crowd for the ladies.
Definitely. Now moving on to yesterday's game for the ladies, a little bit tougher crowd. They were at Maryland, could not quite come away with the victory, 77-75. The Terps top them.
We needed this game really bad.
Oh man, we did. That would have been a huge, huge win for the Huskers, and
it would have cemented us in the tournament. And I didn't catch a lot of the game. I was busy at work, but
I caught a good amount of the first half, which was rough, to say the least. We had a lot of girls in foul trouble. Kate Kane had 3 fouls halfway through the second quarter.
That's not. I mean, she's the one player you can't get in foul trouble.
No, not at all. Which is, again, like why Darian Washington's injury played so much of a role from Penn State, because we didn't have many people to spell Grace. We were playing a lot of small ball out there. Grace Mitchell was our post at one point.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Darian Washington was injured. Taylor Kissinger went down with an arm injury this game, which is really unfortunate. It's her second injury this season.
Right at the end of the first quarter. It was really weird, too. I was talking to my uncle about it last night when we were kind of discussing stuff, and it was just really bizarre because it looked like a knee injury. It wasn't much contact when she and the other girl fell down, and it looked like, oh no, it's her knee acting up again. But she came away walking around with her shoulder and her arm all evening, and walked to the tunnel and did not return to the game. So that was a big loss again. I mean, Kissinger hasn't been quite the same since her knee injury early in the year, like you've mentioned a few times, but still,
she's still an effective. She scored double. She scored 16 plus in multiple games coming back.
Still a big offensive threat for the Huskers that you don't want to lose. And I think the toughest part, you got to see or listen to the finish, right? The toughest part is that's what it sounded like to me, was just that the end of the game.
No, the end. It was bad. No, I mean, it was pretty good. We played well. We battled back from a 14-point deficit, and we scraped it all the way into within 2. And then Hannah Whitish hit a 3 with a minute 7 seconds left, something like that, minute 5 seconds. And I was like, holy crap, we can do it. And then they go down. We're up by 1. They pass it around through the shot clock. They throw it up. They shoot. Nysia Liley fouls the player. She sinks a free throw.
Yeah, Charles for Maryland.
Kayla Charles, she's amazing. She's one of the best players in the country.
For sure.
And it's no shame to get beat by her. But it's just one of those frustrating things, especially, thinking about the Michigan game where Liley, she had that one foul at the end of the game too, and it's just like, don't do it. And then we got, quote, blocked. We got absolutely mauled, Jazz. Jazz tried to make a shot. We got absolutely mauled. We hit it. We got it with the free throws, and then we tried to hit a game-ending 3 with 7 seconds left in the game, and we missed it.
Yeah, it
just stinks because we're so close to making the tournament, and they say we're on the first 4 out for the women's, and it's just
the ladies
it's
really
frustrating.
Needed this win. Just looking at the Big Ten standings, it's kind of hard to see like where all we're gonna fall. I mean, we're tied. There's 3 teams tied at 11-5 with the record.
We're third.
We're third behind them all. Or third overall?
Yeah, we're third overall. We're tied with Maryland.
And that's right. We have the tiebreaker over Iowa and Minnesota.
Yeah.
So we are third in the Big Ten standings for tournament-wise, which
we're probably going to play Michigan, who we lost to in overtime.
But, I mean, that's a very evenly matched team, I think. So there's potential. Again, we get a tournament win for the ladies. They can move into the NCAA tournament for sure. That, again, like you said, they're kind of right on that bubble. The Maryland win would have really sealed it, and that's what we really wanted. And we've had 2 tough games at the end of the season against Maryland. First one, close loss at home by 7 to, again, the 11th ranked Terrapins. And then now this one just by 2 on the road. So I think the body of work really shows that this Husker team deserves to probably be in the tournament.
I do too.
They were showing a graphic in the first half.
We're 9-1 in true road games. We've beaten multiple tournament teams.
Yeah, they were showing a graphic in the first half of the Maryland game that I was watching yesterday, and it compared the 2016-2017 Michigan girls basketball team to this year's Nebraska basketball team. Very, very similar resume, but the big difference was wins versus top 20 opponents. Nebraska was 5-5, Michigan was 0-10 that season, and they made the tournament that year. So apart from that, the resumes were very, very comparable. So I think having those bigger wins over some top 20 teams, that might push us through later on.
It should. I hope so. I mean, obviously, if we beat Michigan in the tournament, I'm gonna repeat this statement in 5 minutes. But if we beat Michigan in the tournament, I'm assuming we're going to be in. And actually, this evening they came out with the Big Ten awards. You want me to spoil the awards we had for the women's team?
Yes. What we got is I'm pretty sure Amy won Coach of the Year.
She did win. She did win Big Ten.
That's the one I was waiting for all day. I was talking with my boss Kendra about it earlier. We're like, She's actually a semifinalist for National Coach of the Year as well.
the only Big Ten coach on there.
Yeah, very big honor. First of all, just winning the Big Ten Conference Coach of the Year. Great improvement from last year, so big congrats to Amy and her squad. But also, again, she's on the semifinalist list for National Coach, so hopefully some more hardware coming her way.
Yeah, I hope so too. And the other two big ones, or I guess one big one, is that Kate Kane was on the defensive All Big Ten first team Big Ten defense,
Very
and
good.
she was on the All Big Ten freshman team. So,
Fantastic! Well,
so
she's
that
had a
was-
phenomenal season.
She
And
has.
again, young player, young team overall.
Yeah,
We only had the 3 seniors. All will be truly missed, but Amy has a lot to work with through the rest of the season, and especially coming back next year.
I think so too. I think we lose our second best player in Jasmine Sincor, but I think I think our best player is still Kate Kane, and I think she's only going to get better as we move on. And I'm excited. The season's not over for the women.
For sure. We're not done yet. We got a Big Ten tournament. We hopefully got the big dance coming for the ladies. So I'm confident. I think
they're in.
Yeah, I might be drinking a little too much Kool-Aid still, but I think both Husker teams are going to get in. That's the gut feeling I have. I'm going
Okay.
to call it right here. There's my hot take for the week.
No, that's fair. I'm down. I'm down for both teams to make it in. Speaking of both teams, let's move on from the men.
From the ladies.
To the men, I should say. Now we had two the last 2 games of their season,
Both at home.
It was a fun way to end it out. Now you were at one of the games and I was at the other.
Yes.
So why don't you start it off?
I'll start off. I was at the Indiana game last Tuesday. Right after my football test, I sprinted down to PBA, found my seat and hung out with my uncle. Great night. Really struggled through the game. Indiana's a tough team, and they had won 4 straight coming into the matchup with the Huskers. So, in Nebraska, again, they were coming off just 1 day rest from their loss at Illinois. So everybody's wondering, like, oh man, are they going to be able to bounce back? And again, it was tough watching them at first because it really took them a while to get going. But Indiana could not shoot whatsoever, which helped out a lot. It kind of faded towards later in the game, but both teams were struggling really just to get the ball in the hoop, especially that first half.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I was noticing, and it's happened to us a lot this year, but the Big Ten refs, they call tight games.
They really do.
And
Some of the
thankfully it was going
fouls-
against Indiana this game, I felt like.
There were a good amount of them going against Indiana, which helped us out quite a bit. But there was a couple very questionable ones. You just weren't sure on where they were even pulling that from, or like where they really saw the contact. And they're like, okay, sure, is that the right way? Or also, the other one is like how they called it a shot when they were still on the floor, or vice versa. There was a
I don't
couple of
know.
those in the Indiana game that my uncle and I were like, I'm not sure you could really call it that way. Like, he was still driving down the lane. I don't think he was anywhere close to a shooting motion.
For sure.
But anyway, long story short, Nebraska did win the game, 66-57. And the big thing I want to make out of this game is the last 4 minutes were the best basketball we saw all night. Again, it was kind of a struggle fest, a little bit of slugfest back and forth. Nebraska won in rebounds. We won the turnover battle.
By a wide margin.
Yeah, 5
I mean-
turnover difference. But the biggest thing was just the way the Huskers played the last 4 minutes. Again, Indiana had been hanging around. They got a little bit of a lead, and Nebraska had to come back and kind of take that back over. And finally, Nebraska kind of took it over the last 4 minutes. And Evan Taylor, he's the one I really want to pick on. Dude just balled out the last 4 minutes. He had a couple big steals. He had one coast-to-coast steal, a couple big shots at the end.
He
Great
did.
defense.
I mean, he played good in the Penn State game too. But,
That's what I heard. So
yeah, this was just a really big win. Indiana, they just coughed it up too many times. I saw a comment on Twitter that said, Josh.
their passing was really
Josh-
interesting to watch because they could not hit their players very well.
Yeah, I was watching the social media Twitter feed after the game, and there's one that made me laugh where it says, Josh Newkirk, who is a bench player for Indiana, knows where he comes from. He transferred from Pitt, and he says because he coughed it up so many times at the end, he played really bad.
Oh,
and
man.
Pitt is like 7-21 this season. They're the worst Power 5 team this season by a wide margin.
Well, I will say the most memorable thing from the Indiana game was definitely the Nebraska bench. They were on SportsCenter
The
all
bench
over the
mob.
place. The bench mob.
Salty Indiana fans. So many salty Indiana fans on social media.
They didn't like that?
They hated it.
What?
I don't know why. They couldn't stand it.
Well, I thought it was great.
No, I do too. I love the bench mob.
They were fun. I'm pretty sure that was your job at Penn State. You had to just film the bench mob,
I
right?
literally just stood behind the basket and filmed the bench.
Hey, that works. But yeah, no, in the Indiana game, they pulled out some fun ones. They did like an RKO. Bobsledding was fun. The best one, Copeland had a big dunk kind of in the last couple minutes of the game, kind of about seal it, and everybody pulled out the tens, like the dunk competition. It was like, oh, it's all over.
The announcer was just like, 9.5s. Oh, it's 10s. And I was like, all right.
It was, yeah. So the bench mob definitely having fun, making the games a little more exciting. And I mean, hey, they're riding the wave with Nebraska. Nebraska ball's got the hype behind it.
Yeah,
they're on board with it.
Everybody's having
buying
fun.
in. Yeah, and they're playing some of the best basketball we've seen here in a long time. I think that's probably the biggest thing. And again, coming out of the Indiana game, I was a little unsure. Indiana was a tough team, but the big thing, too, is Nebraska's now 8-0 in one-day rest games, 4-0 against
weird.
conference.
That's really weird. I think we're 4-8 in the games before their one-day rests.
Yep.
But then we're 8-0 in the days after.
Terrible if we know we're like, oh, we only got a one-day break. We're just gonna like flop this game. But coming out of the one-day break, it's game time. We're 8-0.
Which is absurd because makes me nervous for the game. But anyway, moving on, we got that win. Now, the other day, yesterday, we played the Penn State Nittany Lions, and we beat them 76-64.
It wasn't even that close.
No, it wasn't close at all. We were up by double digits the entire game.
Yeah, I saw the score at halftime. I was helping with some interviews yesterday, so I was kind of busy and could only catch some updates of the game. But at halftime, we were up 34-17. I mean, we doubled them up.
We doubled them up. We were up by 19 at one point. Tony Carr, I mean, he's an all Big Ten player. So
he's carried them to the record that they're at with 19-12, 9-9 in conference.
Yep.
He's been their X factor. So he's going to get his points. He had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game. I mean, it wasn't super phenomenal. He went 9 for 23, but he was the only player that could do anything.
It didn't seem like anybody on Penn State could shoot yesterday.
No, I mean, the big thing against Penn State is that we abused them inside. Mike Watkins, who's probably their second best player, he had 20 points, 15 boards against us in their win earlier in the season. He was out with some kind of injury. I forgot what, but he was out, and we just went straight side. First possession of the game, Isaac Copeland just took his player off the dribble, just tomahawk dunked it. There was no rim protection. Jordy Shamanga had 8 points. The guys he was guarding were smaller than he was.
Yeah, Copeland had a big game. 17 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal.
He scored our first 7 points.
Wow.
He was really good. He did that tomahawk dunk. The next possession down, he jacked a 3 in someone's face, and then he got an and one, but he missed the free throw. He played really good. James Palmer Jr. Did not play great, but he got 11 points. Isaiah Roby played pretty good for somebody who apparently had food poisoning. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. My uncle mentioned it to me after the game. He said the Team Miles pregame show was like, oh yeah, Roby's been throwing up all day, but he'll be good to play.
And I was like, okay. Glenn Watson shot 50%, which is an honest to gosh improvement.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. That's what we need out of him. You just need him to have like a solid game. Just get those like 8 to 12 points and then dish it out. He had 3 assists, 5 rebounds on the night. He had a steal, so playing good defense like he always does. You got to have him show up. When everybody, again, distributes throughout the team, this team can hang with just about anybody, at least in the conference.
I think they can hang with most teams in the nation. I mean, it's one of those things where everybody says, oh, wow, you're not one of the 64 best teams. It's like, no, like, look at us. We kill teams in results-based metrics. It's the predictive. It's the computer's metrics that say, no, theoretically we're not very good, but in actual results-based metrics, we're doing pretty decent.
For sure. And I think this team definitely set themselves up for a great shot at a tournament bid.
Listen, I think
they're the 4th best team in the Big Ten. They were the only Big Ten team to go undefeated at home this season.
It's the only time
only conference team.
We set a record. It's 13 conference wins for the first time ever. I mean, this team, and the only thing I'm frustrated about with our tournament appearances is that I think every serious Nebraska fan knows that this team is better than our 2014 team that made it in.
For sure.
By far. And it's like I said, I love a lot of the people on that 14 team. I love Petaway, I love Shields,
Siobhan,
and Ty Webster, and Pitchford. I mean, those guys put their hearts out for the program, and I liked them. But
Benny.
Yeah, Benny Parker. I mean, I like those guys, but this group plays like a team.
Yeah, they're a much more unified unit, and they don't just kind of shove it to one guy and say, hey, you take over. Palmer Jr. kind of gets that way a couple times. I've seen him that in the game where he's just like, I am the guy sometimes.
Yeah, but
and I want
in
to take
basketball,
over.
you need that guy.
You do need that guy.
But Palmer, like especially in the Penn State game, he said, you know what?
It's not my game.
It's not my game. We're going to spread it out. We're going to get people involved. We're going to get Evan Taylor involved. Well, Evan Taylor, by the way, I thought I was going to bring it back, but I never did. He had that absolutely amazing strip. I mean, he went up, he shot up coast to coast layup, missed it. The player, rebounded the ball and kind of just lazily sat it in front of him, and Taylor just stripped it and put it back in.
He's a grinder. He works hard out there. Scrappy player, runs after everything, chases loose balls, and great defender too. I mean, I love watching him on defense because he's always active with his hands, trying to get those passes tipped away, trying to knock those balls down. But going back to your point, I think you're right. This team plays much more like a unit than the 2014 team did. Because the 2014 team, it's like pass to Siobhan or Petaway, whoever's got the hot hand. This team, they'll spread it around, and they'll make sure everybody starts getting a hot hand. Copeland had a big hot hand in this one, but, I mean, as you mentioned, Evan Taylor had a couple buckets in a row.
Glenn Watson was playing well. Shamanga played really good.
Yeah, Jordy had 8 points.
Except for that horrendous dunk.
He missed the dunk.
He missed the dunk, but we got the board and passed it right back to him, and he scored.
It worked.
Scored on a much harder shot. It was like a falling over hook shot.
Whatever you want, Jordy.
He got it.
As long as it gets in the hoop. But, no, I think you're right. This team has a lot more potential, I think, to go farther than that 2014 team.
I do.
Just because of the way they play. And
the big thing is the tournament. I know some people I've talked to have said, oh, no, we're still in no matter what. I don't think so. I don't know if we're guaranteed. We're going to need some help. One of the big helpers is Duke beating Virginia Tech right now, 41-35, 15-33 left in that game. That's good.
So Virginia Tech is another one of those bubble teams, very similar resume to us. A couple bigger wins than we do, though. So we need teams like that to lose to help us out. And then a tournament win over Michigan would be huge in the Big Ten tournament. Maybe even couple get Michigan and Michigan State. That'd be very, very big.
Michigan's the big one. If we beat them, we are in 100%. And this is not a question if we beat them.
Well, speaking of who's in, Nate, do you have any thoughts on who else might be in? Just looking at all of, and say, do a little bracketology here.
We could do a little bracketology. Oh, I guess I should tell you the postseason award. I'm sure you know who it is.
I'm gonna guess JPJ.
Yeah, he made first team Big Ten for the coaches poll.
Oh, good.
Not the media, unfortunately, which is kind of whatever. But he was second team on the media, first team in coaches. Which
I think the coaches. I think that's more important to me.
I think it is too.
That's a better remark. If you got other teams' coaches saying like, "Yeah, we did not like playing against him. He's really good. Put him on that list." That's more of a nod than any media guy sitting there. I mean, we're media guys, but I don't know. I'd take the other opponent's coach giving me the nod rather than them. So, any ideas with this bracketology thing? I mean, it's hard enough to fill out a bracket once you know the teams, let alone when you don't know the teams that are going to be in there. But I don't know. Nate, anything?
I do have a couple. I like to talk about the bubble teams.
Now, my uncle told me I had to put this in our show. And he was referring to Nebraska more so last week after the Illinois loss, but he said, quote, bubble teams lose.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
It's been rough. We've had some teams drop. Syracuse, dropped a game. UCLA dropped a game.
Yeah.
I know like Joe Lenardi had UCLA right above us, but I think they're below us, unfortunately, because people say, oh, the Big Ten's a bad conference this year, and they're not great. But the Pac-12 is worse.
Oh, by far. The Pac-12 is looking only getting maybe 2, maybe 3 teams.
They're going to get Arizona, Arizona State, and maybe
if
US.
Arizona's allowed to play basketball.
Maybe. We'll see about that. We'll talk about that in a second. But they said, 3 teams, Arizona, Arizona State, and somebody. I forgot.
Who cares? This is the Pac-12.
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know. It's again. I hate making a bracket when you have all the teams figured out. This kind of stuff just throws me for a loop with the way you have some of these teams seeded.
It's one of those rough things where you look at some of the brackets, and honestly, I know it might be hearsay to say about college basketball, but I kind of can't stand the how do I even put this? I can't stand the conversation around bracket time.
No.
I really can't. I love the NCAA tournament. I love college basketball just as a holistic thing. But the NCAA tournament, everybody, it's just, quartiles and RPI and KenPom, and it's like I don't know any of this. Like the average fan could not give 2 dangs about KenPom. I'm a hardcore basketball fan.
I don't
know what KenPom is. I know it measures teams, but I don't know. And I know like I'm not the most statistics based guy. I'm the Stephen A.
Much more of a gotta see the body of work kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like the Stephen A. on First Take. Yeah, like I see stuff and I call it how I see it. But yeah, the NCAA tournament, when it gets into this bracket selection, it just gets so bogged down in numbers and math, and it's just like I just want to watch the basketball, man. Which really stinks when your team is on the bubble, and it's just like they're just like,
does.
and somebody pushes up their glasses, and somebody pushes up their glasses, and they're
it.
like, the math, it doesn't check out, and it's just like, oh my gosh, dude.
Well, speaking of the KenPom thing, I mean, he seems to know what he's talking about. For the most part, he's got his teams pegged pretty well, and his rankings down to some sort of science, I believe. My uncle's always telling me about KenPom as well, and I don't follow him that much. I try to look up, and again, like you said, it just gets kind of confusing with all the numbers and the way they rank teams, the way they don't rank teams. But I think, I don't know, here, how about we'll switch up the question a little bit. Do you have any favorites?
Do I have any favorites? I have a couple favorites. The one team that I think will be really good, and I'd pick, is Michigan State.
Michigan State?
They rank really well. Okay, here's the stats.
Oh, so now we're using.
Yeah, I know. I tell you I hate stats in relation to when it comes to selection times and figuring out bubble teams and seeding. But this stat, it has a point. It's like the last 16 champions have been in the top 10 in defense, in adjusted defense rankings, and they've been in the top 25 in KenPom. No team in the last 16 years has won the championship and not been in those categories. And
that's
telling. The teams are, it's like Virginia, it's Michigan State, it's Kansas, it's North Carolina, it's like Xavier, it's Texas Tech. Like
all
these
very dangerous teams.
Yeah, like these are the teams you need to look out for. But I think Michigan State, they're tall, they're athletic, they can score at will. They've won 11 straight games. They're a very trendy pick. They remind me of that one time when Louisville. Oh, I mean, when some team beat them in 2013.
I don't know who won in 2013,
but they beat them, and I picked Michigan State to.
That's right.
To win the title.
There was some team that just beat Michigan State,
which sucks because I picked Michigan State to win the title, and then just some nobodies, a bunch of ghosts beat them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I mean. You're right. Michigan State's a trendy pick. I'm going to avoid the whole Louisville stuff right now.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I can't. But honestly, I don't know.
I don't know. No, it's fine.
This year of basketball has been so insane with upsets. There's no one team that you just know is going to be there and is likely going to win.
Exactly.
There isn't a North Carolina from like a couple years ago.
Where you thought, they're going to win. If I had to guess,
This isn't an Alabama in college football where it's just like, yes, Alabama is going to be in the national title game. They have a 78% chance of winning.
Yeah, I would put my money, if I had to bet, in the circle of teams I told you. It's teams like Michigan State and like.
I think Xavier and Virginia are two dangerous ones.
Virginia is very, very dangerous. They would probably be my second pick.
Okay.
I think, and I think they have as is kind of announced today. There'd be in a bracket with like Purdue and
Boiler
and Auburn, and I think they're better than both of those teams, and I think they're better than anybody they would play in their bracket.
Yeah,
it's scary. I mean, it's a tough NCAA tournament field, honestly. It'll be exciting. It'll be really exciting.
I'm excited for the latter half of March. I mean, we got some crazy real life madness coming up.
Our brackets are going to be bust. I guarantee it. Nobody bracket ever comes out safe, but I would be surprised. I mean, prepare for your bracket to go out early and often, I would assume. All right, we are going to take a quick 2-minute break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the league. That's what you call the NBA, right? The league?
I think so. I don't know.
We'll talk about that. Stay tuned after the break.
Fancy guys.
Okay, stop.
Whether college graduation is in a few months or in a few years, gaining hands-on experience in your field of interest is a must. While a college degree is a fruitful step towards acquiring a top-tier career, today's employers are looking for college grads that already have some experience under their belt. Here at Husker HireLink, we're here to ensure that you're the person they're looking for. By simply uploading your current resume and skills, we can connect you with hundreds of employers seeking to hire college students to fill their intern, part-time, and full-time positions. Log on to HuskerHireLink.com today to get started.
She didn't want it, yet she got it. She got something no one deserves. Abuse. To start healing, you can't be silent. Your voice has to be heard. Voices of Hope provides free, confidential services on dating, domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking issues. Walk-in hours are available Tuesday afternoons from 2 to 6 in the City Campus Union. For more information, visit www.voicesofhopelincoln.com. Voices of Hope. With your voice and others, find hope.
Water is all around us. No wonder it's hard to imagine we're facing a water crisis. But we are. So that's why the American Planning Association brings you simple ways to save water at home and in your community. Learn more at planning.org. That's planning.org. A public service message from this station and the American Planning Association.
The next Mayor Ritma Ross Media Arts Center's movie countdown has begun. UNL's Ross Media Center presents a variety of movies, videos, films, and documentaries. The Ross doesn't only offer you an alternative to commercial film and television fare, but also a time to sit back and enjoy the creative art of cinema. So take a break or go on a date at the Mary Ritma Ross Media Arts Center. For showtimes, visit the Ross Media Arts Center's website, theross.org. That's theross.org.
Well, no. My turn. My turn.
Okay.
Nate and I are back from our date at the Ross movie theater. So
It was quite funky.
Extremely funky. And Nate, I know you wanted to jump up to the NBA, but before we get there, we got a little bit of craziness going on in the NCAA to talk about.
Oh, did we forget all the teams that give money to recruits?
Yeah, we forgot all the teams who give money to recruits. And the FBI. They're joining in on the fun, too.
Yeah, the wiretapping.
Oh, my goodness. Absolute mess. As usual.
It's a disaster zone.
As usual with the NCAA.
Weird that the NCAA is terrible and corrupt and just a dumpster fire.
Who'd have thunk?
Who'd have think? Stan Van Gundy in the NBA called the NCAA, said they were the worst institution in sports.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think the IOC and FIFA are worse. I mean, holistically. But the NCAA is pretty bad.
They're definitely competing for that top spot. They're trying hard. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's not like people don't know what's going on. That's the biggest thing that bothers me, especially with these other coaches. You know what's going on. You know what's happening. Stop acting like you don't. It's gonna work out better in the end if you just say your piece.
It's the fans of the team that's really getting to me. I don't know how many social media posts I've seen this week it's been Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky fans going, No, we're clean.
It's like, oh, my team would never. Yeah, North Carolina, you're clean. Good luck with that.
Kentucky, you're clean. Your coach may have gotten Final Four, vacated, and both of his previous jobs, but no, Kentucky's fine.
You're good. He's safe. He's a good guy.
And then the money all came out this week. They had all the stuff, and then every single person on media shifted to, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, everybody gets paid. It's happening.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's what.
So what if we get paid? It's not a big deal.
So, they're just college kids getting paid. Who cares? Oh man.
It's infuriating, and I hate the fans that do this. And it's like, I suppose it's fine. I mean, I put fine in quotation marks if you're like, yeah, everybody cheats. Who cares? Got mine.
Like, it's just incredible how many people don't think that this is what it actually is.
Yeah,
that's what makes me mad, and that's what shocks me the most out of this whole situation.
And I'm not shocked that anybody's cheating.
Oh, God,
I mean,
no.
we're involved in college athletes, and while Nebraska, I would take it on our authority that it's a clean program. I think we run a clean program.
I would say so. From everything I've seen,
exactly,
having
me too.
some background in recruiting, I think we've done it the right way.
Yeah, I mean,
having that background and again working with the recruits, we have a meeting every year before we go through the season and meet all the recruits, and they list out every single NCAA guideline, which I kind of laugh at times, but they list out all these different NCAA guidelines that we cannot do with the recruits, or we cannot talk about with the recruits, or we cannot introduce them to these types of people with the recruits, because Nebraska really focuses on making sure that we don't get into this kind of mess.
Yeah, I think we run a pretty clean program. And if we did pay anybody over the last 5 years, I want a refund.
Oh, me too. Yeah, bring it on.
I want a refund if Nebraska paid anybody over the last 3 years. I want a refund. I want it in my hands.
You can get a refund on your $25 graduation fee that you paid today.
I know.
That's college.
That's college, man.
That's college.
But still. The team's Sean Miller, though.
Oh my gosh, Arizona,
you're
baby. Gonna implode extremely soon. For those of you who don't know, the Arizona head coach for basketball was caught with a wire tape by the FBI, admitting to paying a current player, the current Pac-12 Player of the Year, I believe, or like heavy favorite for that position, right?
Yes.
$100,000. $100,000.
I mean, this isn't the first one.
Oh, definitely not.
Louisville got caught trying to pay a recruit by the name of Brian Bowen $100K too.
Yeah.
This isn't the first one.
I'm sure they paid him in more than just money as well.
Yeah.
But
yes, obviously.
Or that ghost team that you were talking about.
The ghost team, but
that may
it's
or may not
everywhere.
have
I would
been
say if you have a 5-star recruit on your team, I would imagine they are being paid in a similar amount.
Yeah.
And I would just admit to it. I mean, I guess just I wouldn't admit to it. I mean, don't admit to committing crimes, but
maybe not commit the crimes in the first place. But
exactly.
It's not like that's gonna happen.
But if you're a fan, is what I'm talking about. Maybe just understand.
As a fan,
probably.
just accept it. Yes, sports is extremely corrupt, especially college sports where they take advantage of student athletes.
Yes.
It's sad. It's very frustrating, but that's how it is. I'm sorry.
It's a really depressing thing to talk about, and we can make jokes. We can make jokes about bagmen. We can make jokes about Sean Miller going to prison. We can do that. We can make jokes about Louisville. I mean, some team winning that no team won the 2013
nobody
title.
won. 2013 didn't exist for college basketball.
Michigan went to the finals and nobody was in the arena. And they're like, I guess we're gonna go home.
Those 5 players didn't exist.
Exactly, and we can make jokes, but the sad reality is it happens, and it's frustrating, and it's hard to find a way to combat it. And I think it's almost impossible because the one thing you jump to is pay the players, and I would say, okay, so what? Okay. Say you pay them generously. Say you give them $15,000 to play sports per year. They're still going to give top-ranked recruits $100,000 to come to a school.
Yeah, they're going to get more.
That's not going to stop.
They're gonna entice them more. Like, oh, you already get $15,000. Well, what else can I get out of you?
Yeah, it's like here. It's like, okay, come get your $15,000 from officially, but we'll also throw in $100,000 just like it was normally. And also, you can't pay players. I think that would be catastrophic to the NCAA as a whole.
Let's leave that one for another day discussion.
We can talk. I'm
gonna be a whole
I'm
episode
also
on
of the
itself.
opinion that that paying players would be. I would argue it's the right thing to do, but I would also argue it would be catastrophic to college sports as we know it.
Again, let's say that for another episode.
Okay, all right. Do we want to finally talk about the NBA?
Yeah, and I think a good transition for the NBA is just a quick little snippet of Lonzo Ball, your boy Lonzo.
What did he say?
His comments the other day were how all players are getting paid in college. Like,
Yeah.
just accept it. But not me. My dad wasn't about that. We were just focusing on one and done.
Oh,
That's what we were
really?
focused on.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
like, sure, Lonzo. You never got paid once.
My Frank Kaminsky went on Part of My Take, which is a podcast, and he said the same thing. He's like, I wasn't paid. I got offered a lot of money, but I didn't accept it. I think he comes from a pretty wealthy family, I think.
Okay.
But he was just like, I was offered money. I refused, but everybody was getting paid. And he's
like,
and they
okay,
said,
guys.
and then he said, he laughed at Sean Miller because he paid a lot of players money and they still couldn't beat him. So, so that was pretty funny.
Well, let's move on to the big leagues. NBA. Nate, there's a little bit of drama the other night. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
The Warriors and the Thunder.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about Mr. Pachula?
I'm talking about Zaza.
He's a dirtbag.
Yeah,
I'm gonna come out and say it. He's dirty.
Yeah, he's not a good player. He's a dirty player. The big play I'm referring to is in probably mid-late third quarter in their game against the Thunder. Russ was going up for a layup, kind of got tangled up with one of the guys next to him, and then Zaza was also next to him. And Russ and the other guy fell down after trying to get the rebound and stuff. Zaza just looks down, flops down on Russ's legs like he fell down, and then gets up and starts running. And Russ just kind of looked at him like, "What is this?" Like,
Yeah, Russ just gave him that. He gave him the Russell Westbrook look.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he said he was like, some reporter asked him if he was intentional. Of Russell
And Russ
Westbrook was
like,
like, "What do you think?"
What'd you think? Did you see the play? You saw the replay like 50 times. Like, of course. What do you think and stuff?
Also a typical Russell
extremely
Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook
And
move, but-
I could be in favor of Zaza. I really could, but look at this. Look at this. I saw this thread on social media. It was on Reddit, and I was reading it with it.
Okay.
And it says, a few of Zaza's past incidents, you decide. And it says, infamous, here it goes, play that took out Kawhi, falling on Paul George, fall on Westbrook, tackles Kawhi as a Maverick. You remember that. I remember that. Elbow D West, elbows Danny Green, blatant flagrant to Patty Mills, punches a Heat player, trips Udonis Haslem, flops into KD's leg. The list of Zaza's incidents is so long that it's impossible to ignore how much of a dirty player he is.
It really is. We've gotten to a point where it's not necessary.
No.
And he needs to be taken in some sort of check for this.
He should. The NBA has already said it's not coming out. It's not going to punish him.
Yep.
Because they couldn't determine if it was intentional or not, which I suppose is fair. It's one of those plays that, taken holistically on its own, you could be like, okay, yeah, sure, fine. You made a weird move, but hey, it's on accident. I would understand, stuff happens, but with that list of stuff,
some of these I'm
against
just not
him,
buying.
Yeah, you can't buy it anymore. It's kind of like when all Nebraska fans kind of had to stop defending Ndamukong Suh in the NFL, and you're just like after about the fourth or fifth time, you're just like, okay, man, knock it off.
You can't do these things.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
don't know. I thought that was just kind of a fun drama thing to kick us off with the NBA.
It's all right. What do you think? What else?
We're off of All-Star break, so we got games going again. The games are coming in fast, and teams are, I don't know. I think, again, the second half of the season will be really telling because, again, you have a lot of the new trades kind of evening out. The teams are starting to figure out themselves. 76ers couldn't quite get their win streak to 11.
Sadness. I love the 76ers.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid is probably one of my favorite players in the last decade.
He's just a complete joker. It's hilarious.
And the best part is he knows.
Oh, for sure.
He knows that he talks.
He knows
he talks trash, and he knows it's going to get him in trouble. And he says, "All right, Bring it on.
And he knows how to get under people's skin.
And
with
he can
it.
back it up.
He can.
I mean, in the All-Star game, like I said this before, he rainbowed that three and then blocked Westbrook on the other end. It's just like, oh my gosh.
I know. The Rockets out west, they're still on a 12-game win streak.
I mean,
like they're rolling.
James Harden, did you see his foul on Wilson Chandler?
I did not.
It was a typical James Harden foul. It was probably one of the worst I've ever seen. And even Harden looked surprised that he got it. And
we were talking before the show how like you were making fun of me because Dwayne Wade likes to drive in and he gets his kind of and one bullcrap calls and shot. Harden does that
Harden
way
is
more
way
often.
worse.
Like, he's
but
way worse at that.
What I was trying to bring up is that they're different. They're different sorts of going up to get jank calls.
Just don't
from the
mock
refs.
the Flash. That's all I'm going to tell you right now. Don't mock the Flash.
He's what is he the sixth best shooting guard of all time?
I think so, something like that. Yeah. Fun fact: he has the most blocks for anyone his height or shorter.
How tall is he? 6'3"?
6'4", 6'3" or 4.
Yeah, it's nice. He's a good player. I just like giving you crap because you're a Miami fan. So that means I'm
a Dwayne Wade fan. I like Miami. I like them more now than I did when they were mean to Dwayne Wade, but the NBA just kind of watched.
I'm glad I didn't know you when the Heat had LeBron.
That was fun.
I'm glad I did not know you.
I enjoyed that.
I'm glad I didn't know you then.
The last couple years of high school, it was enjoyable being a Miami Heat fan. But I don't know, any big stories you got coming on with sports? We're getting kind of wrapped up here with basketball. It's a lot of basketball going on.
Actually, no, I have one more basketball story to talk about.
What we got?
It seems like Kawhi Leonard's going to return to San Antonio to start practicing.
Really?
The second weirdest story in the NBA right now. Weirdest is why Markelle Fultz can't shoot a basketball, but that's for another time. Kawhi Leonard, he seems to return. There's a hope of a March return. He's had quad issues. The main cause has been tendinopathy, which is it's kind of tendonitis, but tendinopathy usually means there was a slight undiagnosed tear that kind of got exacerbated.
Okay.
And
well, that's cool. I mean,
if he's coming back, I'm glad.
I mean, if the Claw is playing basketball, that's a good day. I love watching him and his defensive prowess. I mean, that's only going to help the Spurs at least compete in the West. It's not going to matter because it's Houston and Golden State, but I don't know that I'm never upset seeing a player like Kawhi come back from injury for sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. And there's been a lot of weird rumors that he didn't like Pop or that there was friction in the locker room. So
are you kidding me? Kawhi is the most Pop-like player you'll ever gonna have,
I
apart
think
from
so
Tim
too.
Duncan. Like
it's good. It's good. I'm glad that they're gonna come back. Hopefully. I mean, there's a lot of like LaMarcus Aldridge just played really well in the absence of him.
Definitely.
DeJounte Murray has been really good this year. I'm glad that the Spurs have been good because Pop is just he's such a cool dude in every phase. I love him.
Hilarious.
He's the best. He's by far my favorite coach.
There was one other little bit of drama. So far the league has not acted on it or said anything about it, but Patty Mills, the Spurs guard.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
He had been receiving racist comments and slurs thrown at him in their game against Cleveland last night.
Yeah, which is garbage.
It's absolutely horrible and very sad that this is still going on in sports, let alone the world. But I don't know.
He had a statement. He says, "I'm a proud Islander. Like my Jamaican brothers, me and my family on the island of the Torres Strait have experienced racial slurs for decades. I hope our efforts will enlighten this confused, hateful fan." # Black History Month.
Yeah.
Which is, good for Patty Mills. I mean, yeah, I hate to say it, but people
are mean.
People are mean, especially to
high-profile athletes, because they know, like, if the athlete does anything or that famous person does anything, it's all that famous person's fault.
Exactly. It's
the classic bully situation. Like, you throw the second punch, you're in trouble.
Exactly. And it's something like, if you have enough money, you can't get hurt. It's like when LeBron James's house got spray painted and the people were like, oh, it's just LeBron. He has $18 bajillion million. It doesn't matter. And LeBron was like, no, it sucks. I hate it.
It's not ideal to have someone just spray paint or
it's like, no, it's hateful and I don't like it. And it's like, Exactly. It's,
Just
it's
money
like,
doesn't fix all of that.
yeah, and exactly. So I think so. All right, we're going to take a really short break, just about a minute this time, and then we come back. We will have a slight Olympics recap. We'll talk about our favorite moments, among other things. All right, see you in a little bit.
I'm Demi Lovato. Living with bipolar disorder, there were so many times that I felt like I was alone. The hardest part was dealing with my bipolar depression. I finally hit rock bottom and decided to get help. Then slowly things started to change. For me, it takes speaking up, finding the right treatment plan, and getting back to what I love.
I will be rising from the ground like a skyscraper.
Visit BeVocalSpeakUp.com to use your voice to make a difference. That's BeVocalSpeakUp.com.
Okay, here are 3 important reasons why your son or daughter should play a sport in high school.
Number 1.
High school sports teach valuable life lessons like self-discipline and time management skills.
2.
Teens who play a high school sport have better grade point averages.
And number 3.
High school sports are safer than ever before.
This message presented by the Nebraska School Activities Association and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Well, that PSA cut off really early. It didn't even finish our last word.
Yeah, some of these got to be redone, I think.
I think so, too. They're a little old.
But you know what's not old? Actually,
What?
it is old now because it's gone. The Olympics.
Fake news.
Fake. Oh, my gosh. Let's not get too political with
No,
this.
I won't.
But the Olympics, they had their closing ceremony this past weekend, finishing up in Pyeongchang, South Korea, for the 2018 Winter Olympics. A lot of cool moments in this one. I mean, I was sad I didn't get to watch a ton of it. Just, again, that time difference was tough and obviously busy with school. But for those moments I did get to watch, it looked like a really cool event being out in South Korea. I know you had some big ones. You had some favorite moments. What were a couple of yours, Nate?
My 100% favorite moment had to be the cross-country skiing. I absolutely adored it. I know some person that sports figure that I follow, listened to his podcast, said that he teared up when listening to it. And I get it. I mean, I didn't do that, but listening to this clip, I mean, it's hard not to start thumping your chest and
for sure.
being excited. I'll play it a little bit.
As someone who has actually cross-country skied, I thought it was cool.
2 fifth-place finishes, 1 6th. So close for the U.S.
I mean, just listen to the announcer.
In the second place, they're all completely gassed. They've given it everything on the global pocket. Steven Nelson leading Jesse Diggins into the final turn. Can Diggins answer? As the roars
No,
rattle
man.
around the cross-country stadium in Pyeongchang, Sweden, the U.S. and Norway coming to the line. Here comes Diggins. Here comes Diggins.
Oh, man, goosebumps.
Making the play around Sweden. Jesse Diggins. Yes. And it is Jesse Diggins delivering a landmark moment
That was an absolutely phenomenal moment. And I mean, you can tell the excitement in their voice, how special that was, not only for Jesse, but just America in itself. I mean, that was the first ever
cross-country
skiing gold.
Ever. It's exciting. And I don't know. It's just...
Those are special moments that you only get every 4 years.
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes the Olympics the best.
It's
one of the best sporting events of...
I mean,
and I
hate saying stuff like the Olympics isn't political, because the Olympics is a very political organization with very political goals and motivations, and countries treat it very politically. But as a spectator, I think it's one of the very few moments that, as an ordinary citizen, we can sit here and we can say, you know what? Go America. And no matter where you are or what you stand or where you stand, it's a moment where you can look at the flag and you can really just say, you know what? Dang, it feels good to be an American. Don't tell me you didn't watch that cross country skiing and wanted to start chanting USA. I don't even do that, but I wanted to.
No, but definitely a big moment for America. And I'm definitely always proud to be American, especially with moments like that. And you see our athletes shining on the biggest stage. But I mean, for other countries too. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Every country, every person, and every citizen in those countries, they all have that moment in the Olympics. And I think that's one of the most special things in the world is everybody gets to say, they get to say, go Sweden. They get to say, go Canada. They get to say, like,
go Germany. Go
Germany. They get to take pride in their athletes of their country and take pride in how their nation came to compete at the Olympics. Whether they got first or last, they competed at the Olympics. And again, that's something you only get every 4 years. I think it's really special.
Exactly. That cross-country skiing clip just epitomizes everything.
That was the big one. We had
Olympics.
the women's hockey first
That was
ever
amazing.
gold for, 16 years?
I haven't seen a fake out like that in hockey
or
in a
1990,
long
I
time.
think. Oh, my gosh. Phenomenal shot.
She kind of flicked her shoulder, and the goalie was like, whoop.
Yeah, just phenomenal shot in the shootout to win gold over Canada. I mean, Canada's won 5 straight on America before this,
Exactly.
so that was a true Go America moment for me. That's where I'll start chanting USA.
Yeah, it's like, to beat a rivalry in hockey is just, it's one of those things where you kind of look at it and you're like, yes, Canada. Yes, Canada, we're better. We're better than your national sport than you are.
For now.
For now.
You play that game 10 times. That's gonna be close.
But still, it was very, very fun. Snowboarding,
Chloe Kim, phenomenal appearance. I mean, 17 years old, and on this biggest stage, just goes out and rocks it. Shaun White coming back for the gold. Lindsey Vonn coming back. I saw her closing interview after one of her last events, and you could tell that she was really emotional. She absolutely loved the opportunity that she had here in Pyeongchang. Her quote was like her body just can't. She's not sure if her body can take 4 more years to this. So that's probably going to be her last Olympics. I mean, incredible to see her come back from that injury. I remember watching that crash, and so seeing her back on skis and riding down the hill, that was great. Michaela Schifrin, great Olympics for her. One of the big things too, I thought, was the figure skating. We had the young brother-sister duo.
Yeah, it was fun. It was at figure skating. We didn't get anybody in the top 8, which is very unfortunate. But
we had a really young team for figure skating. Though, for America, and I think overall, again, I think it just kind of shows like it's not going to be the big name athletes that we're used to in the Olympics. It's all new faces. It's all young guys now and young ladies that are going to be taking over. And the next 4 years, we're going to have new faces that we haven't seen in a while, because like Ted Ligety, he's been to 4 Olympics?
Exactly.
And he's retiring now from this giant slalom. So things like that. We're going to be seeing new faces, and I think that's going to be pretty cool down the road for the Olympics. And I don't know, I enjoyed catching up and following along with these Olympics as they went through. Snowboarding was always one of my favorite ones to watch, and speed skating for sure. So I don't know. Sad that it's over, but Nate, hey, you got your curling in.
I did. We beat Canada.
We beat
Canada. Can't top the USA.
But Nate, you did a segment for our TV show for our broadcasting class about curling. Just what was one of the funniest things I thought your segment was about was where the stones came from. Can you just explain that really quick?
Oh yeah,
Nobody knows.
They come from. I mean, they're pure hunks of granite. They're 40 pounds of granite, and they come from an island off the coast of Scotland called Elisa Craig Island. And professional grade curling stones are really pricey. They're like $40,000.
That is insane. You should
I mean, it's a 40-pound hunk of granite. That's your countertop. You're throwing your countertop down to the ice.
Countertop all wrapped up in a ball. I don't know. I enjoyed the whole Olympics. I thought it was really cool. The big thing too, obviously, the politics side of it. North Korea, South Korea joining together for these Olympics. We'll see how that kind of plays out in the future.
I mean,
in the world
who
stage.
knows? Who knows about that? But in terms of
sports-wise,
it was fun. I enjoyed watching all the bits of it I could.
For sure. Me as well.
Well, I think that about does it for us.
That does. Another Monday night in the books.
That was fun. I think we had a good show.
Yeah, a lot of basketball. And we got more basketball coming up in the next few weeks.
We have a lot of basketball. Probably talk about baseball a little bit.
Yeah, Husker baseball doing well. They're 5-3 so far.
Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about some football. We'll maybe discuss a little bit more college football, a little bit more NFL.
They'll be coming back. We'll get some stuff with the combine coming up at the end of February. Then you got the draft.
Yeah.
So we still got a lot of sports coming for the rest of the semester. For Nate Mielbach, I'm Alex Fernando. Thank you all for tuning into the Second String here on KRNU2. Love having you listen in. And get ready because more sports coming your way every Monday night at 7.
Have a good one, guys.